good?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just what made Kelsi the right fit?
I mean, some of the things I covered in there, what I was looking for, somebody that wanted to be a part of this program, somebody that understood and didn't shy away from the challenge of building a competitive, nationally relevant program in the SEC. Relish competing against the likes of Don Staley and Vic Schaefer and Kim Mulkey and the coaches that we have in this league. Someone that truly believed in the student-athlete experience that I truly believe still exists in spite of what's happening with the transfer portal and NIL and all the things that are changing in college athletics. And I just love her energy and her passion. And she truly did come on my radar screen on November 21st that if things don't work out with Mike and that, she was going to be somebody on my list, just watching her team play and watching the passion and the energy that she coached with.
Yeah. What's your confidence level that she'll have the resources needed to compete at this level?
She's going to have the resources she needs to compete at this level. I'm very confident with that. I mean, we're going. Our women's basketball program is going to be one of our programs that participates in revenue sharing, and we're not going to be at the top of the SEC, but we're going to be definitively in the ball game.
When you think about, you guys obviously went with a younger up-and-comer, doesn't have this Power 5, Power 4 experience yet, but it's almost where this program is coming off the struggles that you've had last season make that more of an ideal fit because she's built some smaller programs, but just built some programs, and now she's coming here to rebuild again.
Yeah, I agree. I think if someone could win at the Division II level where she won and go to a national championship game and win at Oral Roberts, she can win here. She's proven that. She has built programs. And if you can grind it out for 13 years at a Division II school and build a program to the point where in her last years, I think she lost maybe 10 total games, she can do it here. And so, that was definitively part of my decision-making process.
You mentioned the rising star part, and you mentioned also your experience in coaching searches. What stands out? What are you trying to identify when finding that rising star piece?
But someone, obviously, you got to understand how to coach, right? And she's got a definitive system and a definitive style that she's going to coach to, especially on the offensive side of the ball. She's going to recruit and fit to that system that players that want to play in that dribble drive and at a high-paced, high-octane offense. I think that will be exciting for kids to come in and play and exciting for our fans to watch. She's won games, proven that she's a winner. She's done it at some really challenging places, sometimes from the ground up. And so those are the types of things. And just her energy and her passion and that she has for the game of basketball. It is her love. It's a love of her family. And that really showed through as I began to talk to her.
Wins and losses always have to be, the main factor. But what else was it that it was time to make the change and you needed to get it to go in a different direction?
Yeah, well, I just thought that our program over the past few years was going in the wrong direction. I think Mike had done a really good job of, he took a program 8 years ago that had some problems both on the court and off the court. Took the program to an SEC championship game, took it to an NCAA tournament. We never could get over the hump in the NCAA tournament and never could get back above to kind of the middle of the pack in the SEC over the past few years. And this league is just getting better and better and better.
How's the popularity of Caitlin Clark and WNBA, women's college basketball, kind of pushed you to push a little bit more in on that?
Well, just look at this venue. This venue on a Friday night for gymnastics meet. I know gymnastics is a different sport, but we're putting 10,000 people in here to see a great product on a Friday night. And I don't know that we can draw 10,000 for women's basketball. We've got to have an exciting style of play. We've got to win some games, and I think that we can get this community and this fan base really behind our women's basketball program.
She's inheriting, down not a great year. You talked about patience. How important is that, this whole process? Maybe what time frame are you looking at to build this thing?
I think we've got to take steps. I think, you can break the SEC up into quadrants, and right now we're in the bottom 4 of that, and I think we've got to take a step to the top, the bottom 8, and then you got to take a next step to the top 8, and then the next step to that top 4. And so I think if we can slowly build that where we climb a quadrant every year, we're building this program the right way where it can have some sustained success.
You'd mentioned that
about how good the SEC is on the men's side, but it's gotten better on the women's side, kind of even since you've taken over. Just how much more difficult is it to compete given the rise of popularity of women's basketball?
Sure. We got 10 women's teams in the NCAA tournament this year, 14 men's teams, so the women are not too far behind the men. People are investing in their programs, they're investing resources in facilities, into coaching staff, into the NIL, and we'll continue to do the same thing. But I think you look at how the NCAA tournament played out on the men's side, where everybody that's left is from the Power 4 conferences, and that's where that's kind of trending because of the resources the Power 4 conference are putting into their men's and women's basketball programs.
I'm sure you talked to some of the your coaches when you were looking at her? What did they say about her that made her kind of stand out?
The same things I had seen in talking to her on the phone and talking to her in person. One, just talking about the energy that she had, the passion she had for the game of basketball, the relationship she built with her student athletes and the staff within their athletic departments, and how much she cared for them, and just a genuine good person to be around and be a part of your department.
Is there, kind of an estimate number of how many people you kind of looked at during the process?
I would say that I had informal conversations with 12 and formal conversations with 4. So how's that estimate?
That's it. That's it.
And at what point in those discussions did it become clear that Kelsi was the person you were going to go with?
So late last week, it became pretty apparent that she was the leader in the clubhouse on those that I had formal conversations with.
And at what point, or what were the qualities in particular that you saw in her that you maybe didn't see in the others?
Well, one, she definitively wanted to be here and wanted to be an Arkansas Razorback. She's from this area. I mean, being from Oklahoma and coaching at Tulsa, she had some familiarity with this area and our institution and the recruiting footprint that we have. And she was not shying away from building a program. And she's a competitor. She wants to win. She's proven that. And this is the SEC. And I don't care what sport you're coaching in right now. It's the best league, and it's not for the faint of heart. And this is something you've got to want to come here and want to compete for, and don't shy away from the competition. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those impressions of that leave on you.
It put her on my radar screen. Because I do pay attention to our opposing coaches, and I make a mental note, and just the passion she had on the sidelines, the energy she had on the sidelines, and the passion and the energy that her kids played with on that court when they were here. I mean, I don't remember the final score, but I think they won by 18 to 20 points, and it was a pretty sound whipping that we got. I think we were down early in that game and never really came back.
The narrative, rightly or wrongly, is that they're not putting enough resources into women's sports here, or just basketball here. How would you assess that situation?
I'd say that's a wrong assessment. I don't know where that assessment is coming from. I mean, you look at our women's sports across the board. They're leading the charge and have been leading the charge. Women's basketball has not been a part of that charge. When you look at what our softball program is doing, our gymnastics program, all of our track and field programs are done. Our swimming program just went and competed in the national championship and got some points in the diamond meet. And so our women's programs have been really, really competitive, not only in the SEC as of late, but nationally. And our women's basketball program needs to do the same.